And so we truly think that there's this segment of evolved communications, which is a new reality for us, and how do we focus on doing that? I had some final things, which I think I touched on. How do we put it at the heart of every business and take healthcare? Healthcare is being transformed in front of our eyes. Soon, every scanner that you have, every heart pressure monitor, they're all going to be connected into your health iTunes. And so digital is ultimately at the core of health, and clearly we know it's at the core of publishing. I think technology is consumable, and this is kind of that point with the portfolio is, look, what's the stat? 98% of apps are downloaded and used only once. Well, in that type of space, apps are going to be given away just like T-shirts are, potentially. And so how do we keep up with that kind of pace? Evolved media I talk about. I don't know how many people are familiar with Flipboard. I wanted to hate the iPad so much. I was like, Steve Jobs cannot have another hit. This is so unfair. Where's Bonin? And so then I bought it I was on a trip in Spain, and we played games, Scrabble, and it was okay. I suck at Scrabble, so I was kind of not that happy, but it was okay. And then I downloaded Flipboard, and I had this connected, beautiful interface experience where I was reading my Facebook, and randomly photos would pop up of my brother's vacation, and I said, wow, I am looking at the future. And then I went to a publisher, and they presented, and I won't talk about who it was, but I said, well, what do you guys think about Flipboard? They're like, well, Flipboard. I was like, you guys so don't even get it. Flipboard took a simple concept and turned it into something that's game-changing. I think when you look at what's going to happen to connected viewing experiences around TV and how that couch and in and around your TV area is going to be transformed, guys like Flipboard are smart. I also think women technomics. I think when we really look at who the new internet is, it's women. They share more, they use more, they consume more video, they're in a buying mindset. These guys are driving, and I think that there's not enough women technologies online right now, and we are trying to help support that. I think everybody should help support that, but I think you're going to see these change the game in a big way. And then I talked about transparency, which is what I think, if I do anything at PepsiCo, it's getting 250,000 people to be able to talk to all of you so that we're a transparent organization and we continue on the march towards performance with purpose. And so that's kind of pretty much it that I have. I do have 10 minutes or so for questions, so I'm hoping we can get into a Q&A if there's some non-shy folks. And I heard that you guys weren't shy, so.
Yeah, Daisy and I have the mics. If anybody has Q&A, raise your hand. This is a great opportunity to ask a major brand about innovation and how they're evaluating all these new technologies out there.
Or I can call on people, so it depends on what.
And he will if
how
you
want
questions.
It depends on how you want to play
Bon,
this,
and I have a
guys.
question for you about the 500 submissions that you got for PepsiCo 10. I mean, that's a staggering number of entrepreneurs out there with new emerging technologies. How did you narrow it down from 500 to the 20 finalists and then the 10 winners?
Painstakingly. I think, and we're going to try to change the process when we do it again, because I also think that the benefit of seeing those 500 was that I and the folks that were part of the viewing committee, so we went through them all, that were part of the viewing committee, had a chance to see a lot more than the overall organization. So how do we bring those submissions in a way that if you're part of the organization and you want to see them, you can go in and rate, and then we can take those ratings into account. But we read through the submissions. Sorry, I should backtrack. We read through the submissions, and then we asked 70 of them to resubmit a video to us. And then from that video, we had a committee, I think, of 30 that sat there and watched in different groups. We had it in 4 segments. So we asked for submissions in social media, in-store, video, and mobile, and then we broke into groups, and then people watched the videos from the 70, and then we chose our favorite there, and then those that were in contention, we watched in a room. So again, 30 people got a chance to see 70, but 280 got to see 20, and hopefully more. But the point is I think, how do we continue to let the whole organization see what the future is, or at least the next 6 months looks like? Sorry.
Hi, Jonathan Tabbs from 20th Century Fox. Our biggest challenge usually is getting, and I think a lot of brands have the same thing, getting senior management to recognize the importance of digital. It's like, oh yeah, we have digital, but I'm interested in when you guys made the switch to really looking at digital as being central, or if not central, a true driver. What was the big bang, or was it a series of events that happened? What was their, I hate to say, come to Jesus moment?
I feel very lucky because I think the organization has always been, look, I have the benefit of standing on the shoulders of giants. I don't know how many of you folks know John Vale, who kind of pretty much started digital at Pepsi. built one of the first websites in the space in general, but definitely for a CPG organization, almost like 15 years ago, maybe almost 20. So there was a history of being a part of having digital as part of the marketing culture, at least. But we've also been, if digital is culture, we've always been a player that skates to the center of culture anyway. Michael Jackson, Britney, you name it. So putting what was the new cultural icon, in some respects, at the center of stuff that we did was not really that hard. So it's not the best answer, but the short answer was that senior management believed in it from day one. So there wasn't a lot. It was just plotting out the roadmap for how we get there. But I don't even think it was senior management that was the hardest to bring along. That is the folks that you need to bring along. I think there's a whole space of middle management that needs to be brought along, which is what we try to do with stuff like South by Southwest and getting them out of their own comfort zone and seeing what the future looks like and that people are using these and will adopt them. The other thing I think is legal even falls into that. For example, we started taking legal to that. That was one of the key folks. And now legal just put on an event yesterday, which is why I went back, but put on an event yesterday that was how do you use social media to do outreach. And they put a little bit of watch outs, but they were running a proactive outreach event and outrageously positive, which from all of the war stories I hear from folks, legal tends not to do that when it comes to social. So I think getting them out of their own environment and into an environment where they can actually see and touch this and see how pervasive it will be can help do that. Also, we do a lot of pilot stuff. I didn't show stuff like Tropicana. We do a lot of pilots so we can prove that it works and then take it to scale. So,
Mark Roplat from TubeMogul.
oh God, this guy.
Yeah, right. 8-part question. No.
All right.
So the R&D.
Give it to me in 3.
Yeah. The R&D process in placing all these bets takes time. How much of your time, or how do you first decide then to scale one of those things, and how much of your time is spent managing a scaled project versus the filtering process of all these bets?
Yeah. I think that's the balance, right? You have to figure out what the balance is. You have to figure out how much do you want it? How much do you think that these technologies can represent a new way to talk to consumers in a way that you can scale that makes sense? So first, we have really good partners. So OMD, Ignition Factory, and I think Jeff's in here, is one of the partners that helps manage all the pilots with our groups. And they know the business, they're across the entire business, so that helps. The other thing we try to do, we have a pretty rigid roadmap of goals, objectives that lead out all the way to learning so that we can share learnings, and I think there's 6 steps on that roadmap. And then what we try to do is make the pilots small, so it's not necessarily it's about proof of concept more than it's about scaling it right now. So then if we get proof of concept and we think that there's true directional capability there, then we take that out and put that into, or the hope is to then take that out and put that into a scaled approach. But even those small proofs of concept can change engagement opportunities, like some of the stuff we're going to launch on Brisk. So I wouldn't underestimate the power of even those small ones. But I think the true balance is figuring out how much time are you spending on those that are going to be real opportunities and those that aren't. But even when you look at like a VC portfolio, and we're not VCs by any stretch of the imagination, we're more incubation engine, more partner with, 20%, only 20% of that portfolio is probably going to pan out. But if we can move this to a place where we can take grandfather pricing, imagine if we had grandfather pricing for like Facebook or Foursquare or any of those kind of things. In the 20% that hit, we had the opportunity to have grandfather pricing for, we make money right off. The value is seen there and we can turn it over and over again. So I think, but that's the same way we think about sweeteners and about packaging and about all those other things that are core to the business that we develop. Well, consumers, this is the biggest revolution that consumers have ever had. And consumers are core to our business, so why wouldn't we treat with that exact same experimentation framework?